everybody. Welcome to another episode of Water is the New Gold. I'm Tommy V, your water doctor, and I'm here to talk to you today about PFAS, short for perfluoroalkyl substances, also called forever chemicals. And unless you've been living under a rock, more than likely you've heard something about these nefarious chemicals. They are believed to cause cancer, and the problem with them is that they don't break down, hence the name forever chemicals. We had a very interesting development this week, and the Trump administration, through the EPA, announced deregulation of 4 of the more prominent, widely used PFAS chemicals. And immediately, since I'm a water warrior and I'm dedicated to bringing everybody safe drinking water, a lot of my friends called me up and asked me, "Hey, Tom, what do you think about this?" And strikingly, oddly enough, my answer was that it's probably a good thing. And this raised a lot of ire and questions about, how can you be a caretaker of our water and not care about these PFAS regulations? Well, there's a few reasons for this. The first thing we want to do is take a look at where do these chemicals come from. And they are used in everything: personal care products, non-stick cookware, pizza cardboard, companies that make artificial joints and orthopedic joints and do chrome plating use these. So it's virtually everywhere in manufacturing. It's pronounced and it's all over the place. So the question then becomes, how can I take a stance that I think deregulation of this is okay? Well, the first thing that I want to do is talk a little bit about how science works and process works. Let's imagine that we wanted a substance, and let's just call it C, okay? And it's some desirable product that we want society to make. We want industry to make this. It'll make our lives better. So we look at the equation for this, and you look at this first chalkboard here, and we see A plus B equals C. And we present that to the public, and we say, look, if we add A and B, we're going to get C, and we're going to get this product we like. And to the untrained eye, we think, boy, this really is a pretty cool thing. Why shouldn't we do it? Well, then we look a little bit deeper and we look at this scientifically. And in the next slide, we take a look at what the entire equation might look like. And I'm going to pull this up so I could see it. But you take a look at this equation, and now it looks a bit different. This is what the equation looks like after we make this product C. So what we're left with is something called AX, which is a modified waste A ingredient, then a BY, another modified Y ingredient. So it could be contaminated, it could be something new, it just could be so dilute we can't get rid of it, and those things could be hazardous. So on the other side of the equation, we have our C, and then that may give off heat. We have a compound called AB divided by 2. We have sediment. We have a new compound called W and another one called Z. And those things could be toxic or just problematic. So the thing we've created in this easy A plus B equals C is, when we look further, we've got A plus B equals C, but we've got a lot of junk that this equation produces. And before we can make a decision to put this process out in the public, we got to analyze all that stuff. So now I bring you back to PFAS and these regulations or deregulation. And how could this deregulation be good? Well, I'm not saying it's good, but it's not bad either. It is what it is. And the ingredients that come into the PFAS as it relates to the chalkboard equations is that right now China produces 50% or more PFAS. The United States has been routinely refining our processes, and we release about 9% of the world's products, PFAS. So the first thing you take into consideration as an equation is that if we eliminate our 9%, the rest of the world is still producing 91% of PFAS. So those regulations really aren't going to do anything to protect our water, our food, our environment, or make us healthier. That's kind of what you see when you look at this expanded equation. And then you look at what happens if, let's say we keep the restrictions on. Anytime you're restricted, the cost of the product goes up. We hear all the time that we live in a global economy. Well, our factories have to compete with everybody else around the world, or they go out of business. So it's altruistic. It's a good idea. It's nice to say, hey, we produce zero PFAS, but reality is that we're still going to get contaminated just as much because of all the products we are buying elsewhere, and we live in a global economy. So when it comes to water, I've stressed this in my book and in a lot of my presentations, is that we have a long-standing practice of expecting when we open our faucet that the water comes out of there is clean and healthy. And I'm here to tell you that those days are gone. Municipalities will never again be able to guarantee you safe water. Our infrastructure and water treatment plants were built long before these chemicals ever existed. So to expect your local water company to remove PFAS from water, it's pretty unreasonable. How are they going to do that? And if we start updating every municipality and think about all the small towns throughout our country and rural places, there's not enough money to upgrade these water systems. So to think that municipalities will remove our PFAS is unrealistic. It's an equation that doesn't work. It's a simplistic thought. So as we proceed down the road with water, we're going to have to accept the fact that if we want safe drinking water, we're going to have to become more educated in chemistry and in water, whether we like that or not. There's no one filter, no one process that's going to eliminate PFAS or any of the other chemical contaminants that we don't even know about yet that are coming down the road with new manufacturing techniques. And what the implication of that is, if we want clean water, we're going to have to take a different position and realize that water coming out of the faucet is good enough for washing cars, washing down the side of your house, taking a bath in whatever that is. But for drinking purposes, we're going to have point of use filtration, and we're going to have to be smart about the products that we're choosing, because what's out there now is not really working. So anyway, that's my spiel on PFAS. I got a little bit more on my website at www.wateristheNewGold.com. I'd ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, you want to talk about water, or you have an idea for a video you'd like to see, I'm an easy guy to find. Just email me, drop me a letter. But that's about it. This is a wrap. And safe drinking water for everybody.